Parcels. Well, let's spend a few minutes taking a look at how Land Desktop and Civil 3D compare and contrast when it comes to creating and editing parcels. We'll begin with Land Desktop. What I have on the screen is I've got some geometry that was constructed. It currently is a number of polylines and maybe line segments and arcs to represent some lot geometry. The geometry itself was constructed likely of standard AutoCAD commands, perhaps of some of the geometric commands that exist within Land, which are fairly limited for lines and curves to ensure accuracy, as well as if we come into parcels, we don't have any parcels created in here yet, but there are a couple of automated tools. They are kind of cryptic and text-based, so they're not the most intuitive in the world to work with, but these are really the only automated tools we have for generating parcels that maintain some level of accuracy. Other than that, we're kind of left up to our own devices. When we create parcels, there's a number of settings that are involved. What parcel number we'll begin with, in this case it's at 51. I'm going to leave it at 51 for right now. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. We have settings for what text style will be used in the numbering, what layer it's going to be placed on, where the label should be placed, should it be automatically placed, the whole 9 yards, and then ultimately when the parcels are created, I've got a lot in here right now. Let's select all those and we will delete those. Alright, the parcels themselves ultimately will wind up in the Parcel Manager. So we've now got a clean slate, no parcels created, just our geometry on the screen. Let's go ahead and turn some of these into parcels. So I'm going to get rid of the centerline geometry off the screen, and I'm going to use a command boundary to do that. And I'm going to put those boundaries on a special layer so that I can isolate those to make my life a little bit easier. So we'll set that guy current. I'm going to use the command boundary. It is a bit of a derivative of the hatch or the bhatch command. If I pick points within my parcels, it automatically fans out and it finds a polyline, or if a polyline can be closed. So fantastic tool. It does help with geometrics in one aspect. If there's gaps, I'll immediately see it, and if I've got lines that cross, those areas could be eliminated. My lines will definitely meet end to end as it works its way around on the parcel. So helpful, but certainly doesn't ensure that I'm working with accurate geometry. Next thing I'm going to do is we'll go ahead and isolate that layer so that that's what I see on the screen. And I can begin to turn these into parcels. And the process with which to do that, we can build parcels from lines and curves, we can build them from points, which once again, it's only as good as you can pick on the screen or the geometry that was already created, or polylines. So as I pick a polyline, you'll see the lots begin to be numbered in the order with which I pick them. So you have to be fairly methodical in how you do this, and I have done, I think the largest was a 2100 lot subdivision, so if you can imagine having to pick these 2100 times. If you make a mistake, you are rewarded by beginning the process over again. Now when I pick this, you'll notice the label went to the centroid of that, which actually falls outside the lot. Not that important, well, kind of important with that one, but not as important as that one, because now you don't know what lot that's associated with. And then we have these two. So I've got those created. When you create the lots themselves, the geometry on the screen was only used to build the lot in this parcel database, which is kind of a kludgy, if you will, kludgy being a technical term, tool to work with these. It's kind of cryptic in that when you select lots, they've put an asterisk next to it so that it shows that it has been selected. So it predates even being able to make some things bold. Really the only way we can renumber things is by doing it individually here, which once again, if you have a number of them to do, that is a very tedious and painful process. So I'm not going to worry about having any lots selected at this point. The other thing is when the lots are created, if I'd like to make a change, maybe move this down, it actually affected 3 lots, the 73, 60, and the 59, when I move that down, it didn't update any of that lot information. So if I'd like to update it, I need to recreate each one of those lots. So it's up to me to maintain which lots were updated, and if the update them in the parcel database accordingly. At the same time, if somebody comes into a drawing and they do something like this and make an edit to the geometry, now I have to worry about the screen graphics on the screen if they actually represent the data that I'm leveraging in that database. So for example, if I come back to Parcel Manager and we grab, say, lot number 60 and we re-import it, we'll say OK. You see that the reference remains what was created initially. So can we be successful with parcels in Land Desktop? Absolutely, and it's a very powerful tool as well. Having said that, there are a fair amount of hurdles that need to be overcome for us to ensure that we've got accurate geometry, that we can be productive when we work with it. Certainly flexibility is limited. So the question is there a better way? And there absolutely is a better way. And we'll take a look at that by comparing that with a similar process in Civil 3D. So we're going to flip over to Civil 3D. I could open the same base information we started with, but it would probably be easier if we'll just take the data directly from Land Desktop. So I'm going to grab the data from my project parcels that we were working with. It started with lot 51. And it scrolled up through lot 75. So we'll go ahead and migrate those into Civil 3D, and they appear for us on the screen. Immediately, we can see Civil 3D is more intelligent than Land Desktop in that the label for the horseshoe-shaped parcel here is actually labeled within the parcel and not at the centroid, as is the label for this one. So there's no confusion with what label is associated with which lot. Now the labels themselves are fairly large. That's okay. Just by tweaking the annotation scale here, we can drop those down to a much more manageable size as we work. Now, getting back to what we talked about before, these lots up here, 59 and 60, if you pay attention to the perimeter in the area, I need only grip edit, make changes to these, and the lots themselves will update. All right, now the numbering may adjust as well. That's okay. We can renumber them very quickly later, but the point that I want to make as I do this is the changes. If we change the geometry, I don't have to worry about myself having to determine what exactly was affected. Even though I can't see the numbering down here, I am very confident that that number is updating as well. So significantly more powerful, as well as undo is functional. So I can undo to get myself back to the state with which I began. So just by moving them into the Civil 3D environment, the working with parcels is a more robust function or feature than what exists in Land Desktop. Next, not only can we edit, is it dynamic, and the labels in that are more intelligent than what existed in Land. What about our ability to create objects? Do we have any more tools that will assist us to ensure that our geometry is accurate? And we certainly do. I can go to Home here. Let's come down to Parcel and we'll open up some creation tools. And in this dialog, we can start tweaking the settings for what we want to work with. Let's say that we're going to perhaps subdivide this horseshoe area around the outside. And I'll set it for 10,000 square foot lots, minimum frontage of maybe 65 feet, minimum frontage at an offset or a setback, we'll say 25. You notice as I make these changes, there's graphics on the bottom that immediately show me exactly what setting I'm changing and what that affects. Significantly better than the textual type interface that exists in Land. If you are a hardcore Land Desktop user, I am certain that this is something you could pick up in the matter of a few minutes. So, what to do in areas where it has to make a decision, use shortage frontage or smallest area. I'm going to go with the frontage. I'm not going to worry about the fully automatic at this point. We'll go ahead and work with semi-automatic, if you will. So select from the layout what we want to create for parcels. I'm going to do slide line create. All right, these are some of the automated ones that we have. We will leave it with property. We'll do parcel name, area, and perimeter. And I'm not going to worry about labeling them for right now. The parcel to be subdivided will be this guy. And we will measure our frontage as it relates to the right-of-way from one side all the way around to the other. Specify angle. We will do 90 such that it remains perpendicular to the right-of-way, and it presents for us the first lot. We have the ability, do you want to accept that or not? You know what? That's a corner lot. We should probably make that one a little bit bigger. Let's maybe go 85 feet on that one. A little bit better, I'll accept that one. Then the next one shouldn't be 80. Let's drop that down to 65 again, and we can begin to accept those lots as we work our way through. So I've got accurate lots. It maintains the information or the settings that I've established. I could even come in. Let's just have the thing run around and see what it does on its own. We'll say fully automatic mode is on, and it wraps its way around and it subdivides the rest of the lots. Right now it's putting the remainder in the final parcel. Let's maybe share that a little bit, and we will redistribute the remainder. So it'll wrap that around, and you know, it does an all right job. There's still some areas. I'm not saying that you're never going to have to go in and update any other lots. There's still some areas I would probably fix. The point that I'm trying to get across is as I tweak these values, maybe we'll go to 70. As I tweak these values, I can immediately see what the effects are without ever having to commit to the geometry. So is it, do I like it? Do I not like it? You know, do I want to go back to individually? Whatever works best. In this case, we'll go ahead and I'll just accept that for right now. And we'll come down and look. In this particular area, I'm not too keen on what those lots are doing there. So I'm going to use just a standard AutoCAD command, and if I erase that line, the lot automatically heals up on its own, which is fantastic. I can then subdivide that myself using the same types of tools we looked at before. Either I can subdivide the parcel using some of the tools we have here, or I could even do just freeform create, in that as I move around it will maintain a parcel line perpendicular from whatever entity I select. So let's maybe split it in half, so instead of it doing something like this, it maybe breaks in half that way. After having done that, we can easily come back and start sliding that line back and forth, watching our numbers updating the whole time. Alright, so extremely powerful tool. We've got sizing options. It's all dynamic. We've imported data from land. We were able to manipulate it. Ultimately, we'll take that back to land. But before we do, we probably like to renumber these because, once again, it started with that 51 we talked about before. And the numbering, I want to begin with 1. And a good practice is to have the highest lot number be across the street or adjacent to lot number 1. That way in your development you find lot number 1, and immediately you can find the highest lot number by looking around that. So let's renumber these. I'm going to do this through the modify, and then we will come down, we'll modify, what are we modifying? Parcels. Once again, very intuitive interface. We are going to rename, renumber. So we're going to start with 1. We're going to increment by 1. I'm going to use my template to do that. Start point. It also gives me an option to select a polyline, which is even better idea because if I have to renumber them in the future, I could select that line and I would not have to pick this circuitous route a second time. So I could record that in the drawing so I would never have to do it again. So I've picked the route with which it should label. Just by entering and leaving each lot, it will be able to select those and then update them accordingly. So if I come in and look, I see that this is now lot number 1. And if we come down, I can see that this now ends at lot number 55. All right, so incredibly powerful tool. How can we use this to leverage or use as a tool to work within Land Desktop? I can bring parcels from Land Desktop into here and I can renumber them immediately. So no recreation, which is basically the process I would do otherwise. As far as creating the geometry, I've got a number of tools in here that are very, very easy to update geometry, whether it was created in Land and edited here, or I've created it from scratch in this environment. I can review what I'm going to do, so the actual creation process is much easier in that I can try before I buy, if you will. I can see what it's going to do before I have to commit to it. The workflow is incredibly streamlined. It's very intuitive. And once again, if you are a hardcore Land Desktop user and you are familiar with leveraging parcels and land, I would be surprised if it took you more than 30 minutes to get up to speed to do what you need to do in Civil to be able to leverage that in Land. So with that being said, I've got my parcels in an arrangement that is going to work for me. Let's go ahead and migrate that back to the Land desktop software. So I am going to come over under Prospector here. We will come down underneath Sites, which is where our parcels live. So we'll come down Parcels. We have those in here. If there is a particular parcel, once again, it's a dynamic model. I can zoom to and go find parcel 4 very quickly. If I'd like detailed information, I can get some properties or see some analysis based on that. So all of the same types of piece of information as you create or edit these that you have available in Land is all available here as well. All right, very, very intuitive, very easy to work with. Let's export Land XML. Those will be, all of our parcels will be exported. We will go to Land XML Schema 1.1, which will be consistent with what Land Desktop 2009 will support. And we will throw that on my desktop, and I will call it parcel data. All right, let's go back to Land. In the Land environment, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to come into the Parcel Manager. The parcels that we have here, I'm going to basically select all of them because, like Land, I don't need to worry about updating them because it's replacing them. So I'm going to select all of them and we will get rid of them. So yes, those will be gone, and I will also wipe out the geometry that exists on the screen because those will not be necessary as well. I don't have to do that, but I run the risk of having two sets of parcels on top of each other, and because Land Desktop is layer dependent, then I'm going to be weeding out which ones are the new ones, which ones are the old ones. So we'll wipe those out. We will import Land XML. I'm going to come down to my desktop. We will grab parcel data. We'll go ahead and open that. We've got our 55 parcels, 55 new parcels to bring in, and we will import those. All right, so our parcels have been created. They're brought into the drawing. If we come down to our Parcel Manager, take a look at the information that exists in here, we can see the area and all of the additional information. All right, so very, very easy tool to work with. We can use it as a tool to, as a tool to leverage our existing Land Desktop workflow. And as we've looked at in the Civil 3D side, there are many benefits with which to do that. So with that being said, that will conclude this presentation.